702.
World of Work.
So we are discussing remote work on our World of Work feature this morning because it looks like it's been on the rise, particularly this year. I mean, the world of work we have seen, it keeps on evolving, doesn't it? And so do South Africans' expectations about where and how they want to work. Remember during the pandemic, there was a boom in remote jobs. In fact, many companies pulled staff back into offices much later in what then became known as the Great Return. But there's new data from Pnet's Job Market Trends report for October 2025 showing that remote opportunities are actually once again on the rise. So according to that data, South Africa's leading online recruitment platform, that Pnet, remote vacancies have climbed by 0.5%. That's between March and September this year. That's 0.5 percentage points. And that's following a sharp 13% decline in 2023 and 2024. And yes, only about 3.6% of all advertised jobs are currently listed as remote or hybrid, but the trend is slowly shifting. You've got more employers now offering flexible work options across a wider range of roles, not just in IT, but also in admin, in business management, and finance as well. So it seems the idea of working from anywhere is making a quiet comeback. Is that something that you still prefer to this day? Because there are people who did it during COVID and they didn't want to come back to the office. There are people who were not in the office during COVID who were desperate to come back to the office. So do you work remotely? Can you please share your experiences with us? What's working for you as someone who works remotely? Give us a call or send us a WhatsApp voice note. You can do so by calling on 011-883-0702 or send a WhatsApp voice note on 072-702-1702. And if you're an employer, do you allow your employees to work remotely? Do you have more of a hybrid arrangements of sorts? And why have you set up things the way you have? Call us or send us a WhatsApp voice note to share your experiences or your input. Paul Byrne is the head of data insights at Pnet, who's going to guide us through this conversation. Paul, how are you? Good morning.
I am very well. Thank you, Clement. Good to be on your show again. Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, let's look at the latest Pnet Job Market Trends report. What do they tell us about remote job opportunities in South Africa right now?
Well, your introduction, I think, was a really good summary of what's happening. We're seeing this uptick in the volume of remote opportunities available in South Africa, and albeit a very modest uptick, you gave the percentages just 0.5%, off the backdrop of what we'd seen over the previous 2 years, being 2023 and 2024, and what we recorded as a 13% decrease over that time. This sustained increase at this 0.5% is actually quite significant and really suggests that there's a renewed appetite for companies to really consider what remote or hybrid type work means. And I think it's becoming more and more important that companies start looking at their alternatives in terms of what they're going to do to attract the top talent. And specifically, you speak about sort of this new world of work, and I think the big thing here is that companies need to be thinking about that future talent. Where are we going to get this talent from? And more importantly, how are we going to attract them, to make sure that they want to come and work for us as an organization versus going to work for another organization.
But we saw a major drop in remote work during that 2023, 2024 period. What is driving now, because it is a small but still a significant comeback, in 2025 based on the data you've just told us about. What was the reason for, that sort of decline, and why do you think, and what do you think is actually driving this small but significant comeback?
Clement, if we look at what happened over COVID and immediately post-COVID, I think it was, it goes without saying, it was a shock to all of our systems in terms of how to navigate this new way of work through COVID. And I think what we've seen is that companies have sort of done the complete swing of saying, right, as you call it, that great return, companies wanted people back in the office. And personally, I actually feel that as efficient as I am when I'm working at home, I'm a lot more effective when I'm with my work colleagues at the office. And a lot of companies were looking at that in the same way, to say, in order to progress the organization, to make sure that we're all aligned in terms of culture and innovation, that really it's accelerated when people are together and sharing ideas, even be it around a water cooler. So I think what happened then in 2023 and 2024, companies were really making sure that they made the point of getting people back into the office. But as we start surging into what I call the new world of work, which actually, honestly, we're quite firmly entrenched in already, which is this drive towards AI and sort of the rapidly changing careers that we've spoken about before in this show, I think companies are starting to look at it slightly differently and say, right, okay, what do we need to do once again to just make sure that we're attracting the right kind of talent? What kind of benefits can we be offering people to consider us over someone else? And there's no doubt that hybrid or even remote work does work for some people, as you mentioned. So I think in terms of the hybrid type work, that's the best of both worlds, where you get the benefit of being in office, but also having that opportunity to be at home and get as I call it, that efficient work done.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's driving it. Companies are just discovering what's actually going to work for them better.
Oh, my goodness. I don't know if I would survive just working from home. During COVID, we did do our shows from home. I did my show, I think, for a week or two from the comfort of my couch. And as cool and safe as that was, I still missed being in the studio, and being with everybody else. So here's a question though, because I know that whenever we talk about remote work, we often think IT, we often think, accountants, but there are sectors or roles that are leading the way when it comes to remote work opportunities. What are those?
Yeah, very much so. And if I look at the sort of at the top level in terms of the job categories, we're seeing the increase happening in finance and business and management and admin, office and support roles. So again, very, as you correctly say, sort of a shift away from just being IT type jobs. And in the finance space, specifically, if I break it down into the types of jobs that have been advertised, more of the remote type opportunities are your accountants and your bookkeepers. In business and management, it's largely your managerial roles, interestingly, that are coming with these benefits. And then in admin, office and support, it's your admin clerks, it's your personal assistants and customer support, that where we see this growth. And I think going back to one of your previous questions around what is growing this change in attitude, and I said companies wanting to obviously attract the top talent and offering this as a benefit. But when you look at this grouping that I've just spoken about across finance, business and management, admin, office and support, what I think we're also starting to see come into the whole process here is that there's smaller companies are wanting to grow, but without the addition of rental overheads right now. And I think there is definitely a shift towards what I call more offshoring, where we've got foreign companies that are tapping into our local talent pool to have people, as us South Africans, stay in South Africa but deliver services for these overseas organizations. And that seems to be a big driver as well. And specifically, if you're looking at the types of roles that I've just spoken about, your accountants, your bookkeepers, your managerial roles, admin clerks, personal assistants, customer support, those are the type of jobs that I also think would be very popular in terms of these offshoring companies that are looking to tap into that talent. It's I think the first two options in terms of sort of looking at why companies do it, as in looking to provide the benefits, and also for the smaller companies wanting to sort of expand without the rental overheads. That's good for South Africa. The offshoring, as that third option I spoke about, is not so good, because that means that we're effectively losing talent to our to these international companies, and that just means that there's less talent available in South Africa to deliver what we need our talent to be able to deliver in terms of growing our economy locally.
Yeah. It's 17 minutes now after 11 o'clock. After the break, I'll go to your calls and WhatsApps as you share your own experiences around remote work, because it looks like, as I said earlier, it's making a quiet comeback.
702 World of Work.
20 minutes after 11 o'clock, we've been discussing remote jobs, which seem to be on the rise once again, according to this data from Pnet's Job Market Trends Report for October 2025. And I've asked you to share your own experiences. Maybe you got into remote work this year. What's driven that decision for you? Let's listen to some of the WhatsApps that have come on 072 702 1702.
Good morning, Clement and team. Yeah, Clement. I wish we could go back to the days where we just worked home full time. You're going to the office, it's the petrol, it's being stuck in traffic, it's extra cost for arrangement for the kids. I wish we could go back to those days, especially when you don't work with clients. Because, wow, in this day and age, taking your laptop to the office is so ridiculous when you can do the same work comfortably at home.
Hi, Clement. On the topic of working from home, so I just recently had to go back to work 3 times a week. It's so draining, I must tell you. Since 2020, I've been working from home up until the 1st of October, and it has been a breeze. I sort of had a routine where 8 o'clock I'm at work on my desk, and up until 5 o'clock, and it worked best. But now I have to go back to the office. Spend an hour, 2 hours on the road. It's just a waste of time. I believe that working from home is much better, way much better, and you get to do a whole lot more than being at the office. And there's so much chit-chat at the office that you don't get your work done. Thanks.
Hi, 702, Kasamba here from Randburg. So we've had a company, we started our company about 3 years ago. We've been fully remote since we started. When the talent pool was smaller and we had people who knew exactly what they were doing, remote work was not a problem. And I advocate for that. We're still fully remote. However, with younger talent coming in and needing to learn how the company operates, the special skills that are required, we are finding that with more junior staff who haven't worked corporate long and need more mentorship, that they need to come into the office. So we're sitting in a hybrid situation at the moment.
Hi, Clement. Husna here from Johannesburg. I work remotely, and I can definitely say there are pros and cons to it. Pros are that I don't do the Joburg traffic, and when it's a really rainy day, all I do is just put on my gown and work on my laptop. The cons of it is that you really miss that interpersonal connection between you and your clients, and you are always needed on call 24/7, or rather within the working hours, which is something that, still trying to manage, obviously coming from corporate. But yes, that's remote work for you.
Oh, yeah. See, it works for other people. It simply doesn't for others. Sipho, you calling us from the Val. Good morning.
Yes, hi, how are you, Clement?
Sure, man.
I am for remote work or hybrid, 100%. That thing is working. People don't want to conform to the modern times, to the ever-changing times where the technology comes in. We are in IA times. We should confirm. Management have got this thing that is saying, I want to see my staff members face to face so that they can fulfill their egos. No, listen. When you wake up in the morning, you are right on top of your laptop. You are working. There's no stress of being on the road, facing the traffic, risking your life, and now you arrive at home, when the coffee has spilled on you, you're angry about the driver was cutting on you, the traffic, no. Hybrid work works, and it eliminates a lot of things. It's good for companies because you save on parking area, you save on the office working, office space, and etc. The only thing is that the management must conform to changing times, modern times, technology. So with IA, working from home is excellent.
Don't you miss human interaction, Sipho?
That's the problem. We want to see faces. We want to see warm bodies. That is the problem. Except that What is the problem? It's the same thing I can do in the office.
Yeah.
It's the same thing I can do at home.
But Ed, do you have people? Do you have kids? Do you have someone at home you live with? Like, do you go to gym? Or are you constantly Monday to Friday? It's just you and the laptop, and you work from home. And then when you finish. You just stay in the house. Because I mean, we human beings, need human interaction. I'm trying to find in what ways do you get that?
And that can be found over the weekend. And that can be sorted out, Clement.
Okay.
The most important thing, it makes the life of a human being easier. You end up managing your life better. You plan properly. You schedule things. Like example, if you have to listen to a person who has to fetch his kids at who's doing grade 1 or grade R at 1:30 or 2 o'clock at school. That person. Right now, a person who's working remotely can do that easily. But a person who has to sign off at 4:30, 5 o'clock, that person can't do that easy,
Yeah, it makes it tricky. Sipho Indaval, thank you for sharing your experience with us. Paul, there's someone asking for advice here who is considering, getting a job where the work will be remote. What advice do you have for people who are considering this?
Clement, I think there have been some really interesting messages that come through, and it shows that there are very definitely two schools of thought. The ones that stand out for me really covered the things about mentorship and guidance, visibility, interpersonal connection. And I think it's so very important and sort of part and parcel of who we are, about whom we are as human beings. We need that social interaction, and we need it in the office space as much as we need it out of the office. And I think the best way that I describe it is that when we're working remotely, and even if we get onto sort of a video call and have got meetings, whether it's with our colleagues or with our customers, I feel that kind of meeting is very transactional. It is, we are in this call for a particular meeting and we need to get something done. Whereas when you're in the office and you're actually in person, I believe that the opportunity is there for some relationship building. And it goes back to what I was saying about sort of that efficiency at home versus the effectiveness at the office. And I think we're so much more effective at the office when we can collaborate. And even if we are sort of, as one caller described it, chit-chatting, sometimes, and actually in a lot of cases, it's about work and it's about solutionizing. It's about finding the answer to a particular problem. So I think that being in office also then speaks to the importance of growing the culture. And I think it was your third caller who was speaking specifically about the difficulty that they've got right now is their company grows and they have got junior staff members or new staff members coming into the organization. Those people don't have the opportunity, they don't have the benefit of actually understanding what the culture of the organization was like before COVID. So bringing people back into the office allows the management team to really drive that culture, make sure that everyone's aligned on purpose, aligned on vision, and again, we're effective. We're a lot more effective. Yeah. And it enables that opportunity for mentorship and guidance. And I think, again, when people are in person, that mentorship and guidance is that much more important. And I do worry about youngsters that might, people coming into jobs for the first time that haven't had the opportunity of understanding the importance of that mentorship. It will be a loss to them in the greater run of things.
Good afternoon, Clement. I think remote is another way of simplifying things in today's modern. I work in a company where we do inspection for the goods that are going out of Africa, whereby a client will be assigned for an app which is on site, and then we use the video to inspect where he will be shooting the pictures, and then I will be checking if those things are marked, they're legible, or the quality of the product is the one that the client is required. Thank you.
Hi, Clement. I can hear people talking about all the good things about working from home. It's not everybody who's disciplined when it comes to working from home. Believe you me, I had relatives that were working from home. All I see is people drinking, entertaining visitors while the laptop is on.
Clement, office toxicity is like one of the biggest problems why people don't want to work. And in this woke world that is happening right about now, toxic bosses, toxic office colleagues, managerial positions, fighting to appease managers, that whole entire toxicity. And then secondly, it's office relationships that might get you in trouble, whether you are in one or you are being cheated on. Office husbands, office wives, office husband and wife. No. Being remote is really good for your soul. It's good for your mental health. It's good for I'm alluding this to also being independent and being an entrepreneur. There is some solace and some peace within that. So I think if you are still having a 9-to-5, working at home has those ingredients, has those beautiful elements of peace, and something that is good for the soul, although we are all in this rat race of the capitalist system. So yeah, I'm for being at home.
Yeah, I hear you guys. I hear you, and I understand that some of you are working in really unhealthy, toxic environments. But hey, there are other people who still enjoy being in the company of their colleagues, and they go to work every day, Monday to Friday, with a smile on their face. So different schools of thoughts. Paul Byrne, Head of Data Insights at Pnet. Thanks for making time for us.